Dallas won the toss. They have deferred, so they want Philadelphia to have the ball. The Dallas defense will be out there. Dan Bailey kicking off. Josh Huff standing about 6 yards deep in the end zone. And the season reaching the halfway mark on this 8th night of November. And we will start with a touchback. And we'll start by taking a look at the Eagles starters.
Sam Bradford, Oklahoma.
DeMarco Murray, Oklahoma.
Riley Cooper, Florida.
Jordan Matthews, Vanderbilt.
Brent Selleck, Cincinnati.
Zach Ertz, Stanford.
Lane Johnson, Oklahoma.
Alan Barber, Missouri Southern.
Jason Kelsey, Cincinnati.
Matt Tobin, Iowa.
Dennis Kelly, Purdue.
Chris talking about Jason Peters at the top of the show and how much they will miss him. And you're going to miss a guy who goes to 7 Pro Bowls, hurt his back 2 weeks ago against Carolina. We did that game on a Sunday night. They had the bye, but he's still not ready to play. So we will begin with Bradford taking the snap out of the shotgun, and the former Cowboy DeMarco Murray out in the flat, hauls it in and goes next to nowhere. That is Sean Lee, who was all over the field in week 2 against Philadelphia, making the tackle.
Well, one thing you're going to see all night long from Sean Lee is that he will be protected by his defensive line mates up front. They are going to try and allow him to run free as he did in that first game.
Murray goes nowhere again. So last year led the league in rushing. This year a totally different story. And of course the Philadelphia Eagles go no huddle. They go quick paced. They're last in the league in time of possession. They run a ton of plays, but right now they're 3rd down and 9.
And this is starting just the way the other one went when DeMarco Murray had 13 carries for 2 yards.
They go 3 by 1 with the 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen. Cowboys looked like they were ready to come. Bradford doesn't get blitzed that much, but he does here. They flush him out of the pocket, and then he throws and completes it, but not enough for a first down. That is Josh Huff making the catch. So Rod Marinelli doesn't blitz that much, and they don't blitz Bradford that much around the league, but they do that time. He completes it, but not enough for a first.
Going to come with the blitz off the edge here by Byron Jones, who's going to flush Bradford out. Bradford making more plays on the move, and that's just the way the Cowboys would like it.
Donnie Jones to punt. Lucky Whitehead. He almost blocked it. Whitehead is back. The flag is down. Whitehead's going to let it go. Takes a good Dallas bounce, but there's a flag down. Ed Hockley is the referee. So 1 minute and 13 seconds into the game, his first pronouncement.
Running into the punter.
That's a first down.
Number 38. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
It was 4th and 4, running into the punter, a 5-yard penalty, so Philadelphia will keep it. And that is Jeff Heath, who was involved in that hit on Ricardo Lockett of Seattle last week. They almost blocked it, and then Jones goes down, and Philadelphia retains possession.
Yeah, and don't forget, the Cowboys did block a punt of the Philadelphia Eagles the first time they met. Gave it another shot.
Not only blocked it, ran it in for a touchdown. Kyle Wilbur did. Now it's Murray. Runs into his own man, and then forward for a gain of about 4. Sam Bradford, happy birthday to Sam. He is 28 tonight. #1 pick back in 2010 by the St. Louis Rams. Had a good rookie year. Then he's been hurt the last year and a half. Made the trade, did Philadelphia with St. Louis. They sent Nick Foles to the Rams. Bradford comes this way, and now in his 8th start as an Eagle. Has good protection, but the pass is incomplete. Claiborne is there. Pass intended for Miles Austin, the former Cowboy. It will be 3rd down and 6.
Lane Johnson off to a good start against Greg Hardy already right here. He has played left tackle in college. He said it's a little different getting back out there. Took a little bit of practice, a little rehearsal, but said I feel pretty comfortable with it.
3rd and 6, and Bradford over the middle completes it, but stops short of the first down. Josh Huff making the catch, but they collect him at the 40-yard line. So once again, Philadelphia to punt, as they have run 6 plays but can't pick up a first.
And it's always one of those issues that if you have short drives with that fast-paced offense, you end up in trouble late in ball games as your defense wears out.
And Jones with a high booming kick. Lucky Whitehead will back up and catches it at the 1 yard line, something you're not supposed to do, and that's the reason right there. So Whitehead brings it back to the 7, and Dallas will start its first drive from deep in its own territory on Sunday Night Football. And Philadelphia beating Dallas, and they've been doing it since 1960. Darren McFadden gains 5. Let's take a look at the Dallas starters.
Matt Castle, USC.
Darren McFadden, Arkansas.
Dez Bryant, Oklahoma State.
Terrence Williams, Baylor.
Jason Witten, Tennessee.
James Hanna, Oklahoma.
Tyron Smith, USC.
Lael Collins, LSU.
Travis Frederick, Wisconsin.
Zach Martin, Notre Dame.
Doug Free, Northern Illinois University.
So 2nd down and 5 now. It's 45 Rod Smith. He's a rookie out of Ohio State. Picked him up on waivers from Seattle. He was in motion, and Bryant makes the catch. And Dez Bryant, who broke his foot in the opener and was out until last week, collects it here, tackled by Nolan Carroll, and that's the game's first down.
Well, you're going to get 4 receivers up here and 1 down here, and as long as you're willing to play man coverage on Dez Bryant, you're going to get your shot. And already we see Dez a little better than what he was last week. May have come back a week too early. I thought Matt Castle may have tried to go a few too many times to Dez against Richard Sherman. They get off to a good start.
And now from the 18, you got McFadden with a big hole. And the former Oakland Raider has a first down on the gain of 13 up to the 31-yard line.
You're going to see the big running lane right here. And the one thing they talk about with Darren McFadden is he's a little different runner than some of the other guys that they have. Jason Witten on the outside with a good solid block, but he's a strider. So he's a guy they want to get going sideways, get his full stride going. And defensively, what the Eagles would like to do is make him stutter step. Once he stutter steps, doesn't re-accelerate quite as well.
It's Terrence Williams in motion. Castle looks one way, then the other. Hits Bryant on the run. And Bryant is inside the 35-yard line with the Eagles chasing him across the field. And he's finally tackled from behind at the 18 by the linebacker, Jordan Hicks, who went all the way down the field. He beats Carroll that time. And that's good for 56 yards.
Just man coverage. And one of the things that the Eagles were working on this week was they wanted them to take away the slant. They thought the slant route was the one thing that kind of got Dez Bryant going. That time you saw Nolan Carroll sink way inside, and it set up Dez to go down the field for the long one.
Give him officially 51 to the 18-yard line. And Bryant, 2 catches, 2 plays. Tony Romo with the earpiece in, listening to the play calls. Play action, reverse roll, and then it's dropped by James Hanna. Matt Castle, the last time he faced the Eagles, he was a Minnesota Viking, and he played well that day. 382 yards, couple of touchdowns, came up with New England, went to Kansas City, made a Pro Bowl there. Minnesota, and he was going to be the Buffalo starting quarterback, at least at one point during training camp this year. And then wound up getting traded after the injury to Romo in week 2 from Buffalo to Dallas. Bryant back in, 2nd down and 10. McFadden runs into his own man, and that helps the Eagles stop him. Benny Logan, the nose tackle, makes it 3rd down.
You have a tremendous defensive line going against a tremendous offensive line, and there's Benny Logan right there in the middle, who has just been playing great, going against the rookie Lael Collins. This is some matchup. If you want to see best against the best, these run defenders up front for the Eagles, these pass blockers and run blockers for the Dallas Cowboys, a tremendous matchup. We'll try and watch it all night long.
Yeah, you saw Benny Logan take care of Lael Collins, the rookie guard, on that play to make the tackle. 3rd and 9. Castle fires. That's caught to the 9-yard line. Terrence Williams. It's a yard shy of the 1st down. So what does Jason Garrett want to do here? Very interesting call, because it figures to be it figures to be a low-scoring game. I don't know. At this point, who knows? But 4th and 1. You figure if it's a shootout, you definitely go for it. Low scoring, what do you do? And Castle's waiting for the call. They're going to send new personnel in right now.
Going with all the big guys, but now it looks like they're going to fool around here and have to call a timeout.
Right. They sent a jumbo package in, extra offensive linemen. And so instead of fooling around with a change of personnel, all the rest, they will discuss it.
That's their first.
Cowboys again. Romo gone after week 2. You go through the last 4 games, only 4 touchdowns, 42 drives. They have not scored a touchdown in 2 of their last 3 games. They played real well in the game after, at least the offense did, the game after Romo was hurt against Atlanta. They had 3 14-point leads in the game, but the defense couldn't hold the Falcons that day. But since then, it's been a struggle. They had Brandon Whedon, quarterback, until 2 weeks ago. And then Castle took over.
Yeah, season lows, 220 total yards, just 91 yards passing against Seattle. Fewer than 100 passing yards for the first time since '03, to give you some idea of how much hotter this start is for the Cowboys in this one than it was a week ago.
Charles Brown, extra offensive lineman. He would be eligible. Number 78. McFadden is the running back. They put a fullback in the game. That's Tyler Klutz. And on 4th and 1, here's McFadden, and he's going to bull his way for a first down. Tell you, it's McFadden's time to shine, because the best laid plans of the Dallas Cowboys went awry. They were going to have a 3-headed rushing attack this year, but those 3 guys, it's just McFadden who's left.
Big double team on the right side. Zach Martin, Doug Free getting off the ball, and then a heavy run, as they like to call it, by Darren McFadden. It's one of the things that they really miss with DeMarco Murray, his ability to fall forward, Al, for those extra couple of yards on most of his runs. And they feel like that Darren McFadden's starting to get there a little bit.
Had a good day in New York in a losing cause. Quarter approaching the halfway mark. 1st and goal. Castle. And he throws that one away. This drive started after a 59-yard punt back at their own 7-yard line. Lucky Whitehead catching it at the 1. I'm sure he was talked to by Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coach.
I would imagine.
Castle trying to make this a 93-yard drive.
You get the feeling that they're picking on Nolan Carroll just a little bit on the corner. It seems like no matter who it is that they put over there on that side, that's their side of choice.
He's going to be matched up with Des Bryant. There they are. Bottom of the screen.
Looks like man coverage too if he wants Des.
2nd down and goal. Now he may get some help, but McFadden will take it to the other side on the ground. We mentioned at the beginning of the year they had Joseph Randle. They picked up McFadden in the offseason, and they had Lance Dunbar. Dunbar got hurt, out for the season week 4. Randall off the field issues. He was playing pretty well, but they finally had to say goodbye to him. And so now it's McFadden, and he's backed up by Kristen Michael. There's D'Amico Ryans, the great linebacker for Philadelphia, inactive for the 2nd game in a row.
And Kiko Alonso now in for the Philadelphia Eagles for the first time in about 5 weeks.
Picked him up in the trade that sent LaShawn McCoy to Buffalo. 3rd and goal. And it's caught by Beasley for the touchdown. Good protection that time for Matt Castle. And Castle, who didn't even throw for 100 yards last week, all game, throws for 70 on that drive. They go 93 and take the lead.
Cole Beasley has been the forgotten man here lately. Watch him come out and then loop back underneath here. Single coverage on him because they had double coverage on Des Bryant on the other side of the field. But they really needed to get some additional wide receivers going. Here's the double on Des on the outside. Safety over the top. Had him covered. Maybe everything starts to open up on this offense if other receivers start to make plays.
Dan Bailey for the extra point. And the Dallas Cowboys trying to make it a season sweep over the Eagles. Off to a good start. 6:44 to go in the opening quarter. 7-0. AT&T Stadium opened in 2009. Jason Garrett has watched Cole Beasley go into the end zone to cap a 93-yard drive. And that's Bailey's second touchback. Philadelphia takes over at its own 20, down 7-0. Up to the minute standings. NFC East Giants won today. Went to Tampa, beat the Buccaneers. They're 5-4. You can see Philly at 3-4, Dallas 2-5. If Dallas wins, they will have swept Philadelphia on the season series, and they'll have a better division record than the Giants. A game and a half back. They have split with the Giants this season. They still have 2 games to go with Washington. And they get a flag before the snap for a false start.
Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Well, there's Lane Johnson, a man very much in the spotlight tonight.
Cowboys love these late shifts right before the ball is snapped, just to give the offensive line a little different look, and sometimes it makes the offensive lineman flinch.
Running back is Ryan Matthews. A low snap, and Bradford has to reach down to collect it, and David Irving, a rookie out of Iowa State, makes the tackle. It's a loss of 4, and it's second down and 19.
I tell you, that David Irving's been some fine, hasn't he? Comes over on waivers from Kansas City, and he's had a big impact.
Now Bradford rolling left, and that won't go anywhere. Taken down at the 12-yard line. Zach Ertz, Barry Church. Strong safety comes in to knock him down after a gain of 1. 3rd and 18 now.
Barry Church has loaded up on a couple of hits already in this game. He is turned into a tackling machine. Second on the team only to Sean Lee, and very solid tackles so far here tonight.
So Matthews in the backfield. They also have Sproles in the game. Darren Sproles. He's in the slot. 3rd down and 18. Bradford going deep downfield, and that is caught up at the 39-yard line by Miles Austin. So on 3rd and a mile, the former Dallas Cowboy comes up and collects a big first down on the gain of 27.
Watch this. They try to get cute with their coverage and disguise it. They end up with Claiborne basically playing the safety on that side and just give up 3rd and a million for a first down.
Up at the 39-yard line. And this is the former San Diego Charger Ryan Matthews, who's been fighting his way through a groin strain. There's some question whether he would be able to play, but they use Murray, they use Matthews, and they have Sproles as their 3-headed backfield.
Yeah, and he's had a great year. 6.1 yards per carry, second in the NFL, and a lot of people think that maybe he should be the starting running back over DeMarco Murray.
2nd down and 8. And here he goes, and Matthews gets taken down from behind. Good tackle, about 3 yards shy of the first down. Tyrone Crawford. So here's how they use their running backs. Murray plays a little more than half the time. Matthews about a quarter. Sproles 34. Of course, that's more than 100% because sometimes you have 2 guys in the backfield. Yards from scrimmage right there. Meanwhile, 3rd down and 4. And Bradford throws and getting popped immediately. Jordan Matthews, Brandon Carr knocks him down, creating a 4th down.
Well, sort of like watching Cam Chancellor play. People coming out of the secondary and just knocking the heck out of people. This looked like it might go for a little bit, and all of a sudden a cornerback, Brandon Carr, comes up with that shot.
Nice
start.
Yeah, Jones the punt. Since Whitehead took that one back from the 1, he's not in there right now. They go back to Beasley, their regular punt returner, and he calls for a fair catch at the 17-yard line. A little less than 4 to go in the opening frame. 7-0 Cowboys. Bryant already a couple of catches tonight. His number is on the season. And we go to Michelle.
Well, Al, it was back in the opener when Des Bryant fractured the 5th metatarsal in his right foot, also known as a Jones fracture. His surgery a day later involved inserting a screw into the bone along with a bone graft. Bryant is wearing an orthotic in his right shoe, and he had molds of both feet taken so that the shoes could be customized specifically for his feet. Those are the shoes you see him wearing, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Well, last week he played a lot of plays, but really wasn't a factor. Tonight he's been a major factor thus far. 51-yard reception, helping to set up a touchdown from the 17-yard line. Castle hands off to begin this drive to Darren McFadden, and we'll take a look at the Eagle defense here.
Cedric Thornton, Southern Arkansas University.
Benny Logan, Louisiana State University.
Fletcher Cox, Mississippi State.
Connor Barwin, Cincinnati.
Jordan Hicks, Texas.
Michael Kendricks, Cal.
Brandon Graham, Michigan.
Byron Maxwell, C.C. Blaney.
Walter Thurman III, Oregon.
Malcolm Jenkins, The Ohio State University.
Nolan Carroll, Maryland.
Eagles redid their secondary with the exception of Malcolm Jenkins in the offseason. They're very deep at linebacker, and they've had to be with all the injuries. On 2nd down and 6, McFadden picks up a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
I tell you, this Jordan Hicks is some story, isn't he? Comes in there, they get all their linebackers hurt, and he just keeps making plays. Here he is. He's the signal caller now as a rookie. We met him the other night. Sharp young man. You can see where they'd want him organizing and structuring this defense. And when he pulls the trigger to go get somebody, he goes hard.
The Cincinnati kid who wound up going to Texas. Picked them in the 3rd round. 3rd down and 4. Castle stepping up and incomplete. A little behind. Flag though comes in. Into the play. Des Bryant, the intended receiver. Ed Hockley with the call.
Pass interference, offense number 11. The penalty is declined. Brings up 4th down.
I tell you, these referees are getting slicker all the time, watching for these pick plays that everybody seems to do. There is no question Cole Beasley came down with the sole intention of picking middle linebacker Kiko Alonso to free up Dez.
And you saw Beasley come off the field holding his back as he goes to the bench. Chris Jones will send it down to Darren Sproles, one of the best ever at running back kicks. And it's a wobbly duck. Fair catch called for at the 31-yard line, and that's where Philadelphia will begin its next drive after a 45-yard boot. Eagles begin this drive now from the 32-yard line. Cowboys up 7-0. Bradford, good protection, and the pass is incomplete. A flag though comes in. Pass intended for Zach Ertz. Brandon Carr with the coverage, and looking at Carr, you know who's going to get the flag.
And one of those peel back routes, and like Church may have grabbed a jersey or something.
Pass interference, defense number 39. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
Not Barry Church at all. Right here. I think he had the wrong number. I'm pretty sure it was Barry Church.
From the 41-yard line on 1st down now. And coming around the corner, putting his head down, is DeMarco Murray, and he gets taken down by Carr after a gain of about 3.
Not exactly, but a little bit. You're not allowed as a running back to drop your head and initiate contact lining somebody up. That was close.
Bradford off the option, and the pass intended for Matthews is no good, and that's Byron Jones, who's really made his mark. He's a rookie, played at Connecticut, drafted toward the end of the 1st round, has taken over as a starter, and has been drawing praise from everybody.
He is a star. They had him playing safety and corner. Now they've got him playing the toughest position in football, slot corner. It's remarkable what he's done as a rookie.
3rd and 7.
And now blitzing.
Here they come. Bradford backpedaling and has that knocked down. Could get nothing on it. Tyrone Crawford got his hand on it, so it's 4th down, and again Jones comes into punt.
Pressure coming from everywhere here. They had the screen called, really the perfect call, but Tyrone Crawford reads it beautifully and gets underneath there. That one might have had a chance.
Nose down punt by Jones. Beasley again calls for the fair catch, makes it at the 12-yard line. So again, the importance of this game, you know, it's funny, this season has not worked out the way either team wanted. Dallas got off to a good start, but then Romo got hurt. Philadelphia, as we said at the open, all over the map, but the NFC East figures to go well down to the wire.
Yeah, no question. And if the Eagles offense grows into itself, maybe they make a run. But the team I think that everybody has to keep their eye on, let's say the Cowboys could get a win here tonight. Then Romo comes back. This is the team that everybody had sort of penciled in as one of the favorites in the NFC. Who knows? Could they come off the deck and make that kind of run? Dez is healthy. Romo's healthy. Certainly a possibility.
Well, we talked to Tony over the weekend, and he feels, hey, look, if we can just get this win tonight, he'll be back in 2 weeks. He can come off short-term IR against Miami. The other thing that works, though, against Dallas right now, and why tonight's game is so vitally important, among other reasons, 4 of their next 5 are on the road, including a couple of games at Green Bay and Buffalo.
One thing that broadcasters around the league generally have a conversation about is that every time we tried to say Tony Romo was a good player and the most important thing, and the reason the Cowboys are hanging in there every year is because he's playing so well, and most people would scream, oh, you're sucking up to Tony, and, you know, come on, it's the Cowboys and all that kind of stuff. But now, without him, I think they're getting a little taste of how good a player he is.
Hockley announced that I think there were 12 men in the huddle, so he called a penalty here, but now there's a discussion as Garrett comes out onto the field. Ed, a barrister by trade, of course, has to meet with everybody. It's when the attorneys decide they're going to go up to the judge, right, and have a little conference. Well, Riley Cooper.
He's had that knee issue that he had against the Giants and didn't do much in the game last week.
He's going to limp his way back to the locker room.
That foul cannot be enforced from the end of the kick. The penalty is declined. Dallas will keep the ball at the 12-yard line. First down.
You know, Ed likes airtime, right? Let's be, we like Ed, but I mean, come on. That took us a minute and a half.
He's been an entertainer for a long time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Those two guys pretty good entertainers too.
From the 12-yard line, it's first down. Start on the ground. Fadden. If he can stay healthy, I mean, that was the issue with him in the past. He picked them up, went to Arkansas, Jerry Jones's alma mater. Had 152 yards a couple of weeks ago against the Giants. And, he was a major star in college and a very high draft pick by the Oakland Raiders a few years back.
Yeah, he had a 1,000-yard season a couple of years back. And the question is, can he stay healthy enough to be that guy? Well, he doesn't have a lot of choices right now, other than a couple of guys he picked up from Seattle. Kristen Michael, Rod Smith, he is the man now.
Second down and 9. Castle slings it to the outside. That's caught close to a first down. Beasley, before he is forced out of bounds. They'll put it down just shy of the 22, which means it'll be short by about half a yard. Third down.
Well, if Tyron Smith isn't the best left tackle in football, I don't know who is. That guy is one of the more powerful athletic beings that you will see, and he is going to have his hands full tonight against a couple of guys. Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Vinnie Curry, all good off the edge. It'll be fun to watch.
Bringing the extra lineman who's eligible here, Brown, number 78. Heavy package on 3rd and 1, and a big hole exploited by McFadden. First down up to the 30.
Well, I tell you, you're powerful up front when they blitz right into the hole where you run, and your offensive lineman, led by Zach Martin, blows it out anyway. It's a heck of a run block.
That will take us to the end of the first quarter. Arlington, Texas on this Sunday night. Dallas 7. Philadelphia nothing, and Sunday night football continues after these messages.
Waiting all day for Sunday night.
From the 29 now, flag is thrown. And Castle's hit as he throws, and the pass is incomplete. You have Tyler Klutz, the fullback, in there holding Michael Kendricks.
The 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
And it was the other way around. It was Kendricks holding, and that's going to be a first down.
Michael Kendricks is the designated blitzer. You will see him coming off the edge a lot. See if he puts that face mask right underneath the chin to get that block done. Not allowed to do that. It's an unfair advantage they've deemed. So a cheap first down.
Could have called that either way.
Yep.
34-yard line, first down. Fadden push his way to the 39-yard line. Boy, quite an odyssey from Matt Castle. Went to USC, was a heralded high school star in Southern California, but then wound up playing for the Trojans behind. At first, Carson Palmer, all he did was win the Heisman. Then he plays behind Matt Leinart. He wins the Heisman. Barely plays at all at USC, but was picked in the 7th round by New England. And then when Tom Brady got hurt on opening day early in the game in 2008, it was Castle who took over and played his way into a big payday the following year in Kansas City. Fletcher Cox makes the tackle. And you know, you talk about all the stuff that the guy has to go through. He gets traded. So they have 3 kids. They were all born in Kansas City. He goes to Buffalo. His wife is pregnant. She's about ready to give birth. He gets traded to Dallas. So that baby was born here.
They had been here exactly 1 week. And of course, Matt is in desperation mode trying to learn the offense. So he's at the facility from 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. every night. Meanwhile, his wife is home with a new baby and 3 other kids, all under 5. He said it was just a madhouse, as you can imagine. But he's come out the other end and had a good start here.
Apart from that, nothing was going on. He goes deep on 3rd down, and it is incomplete. Terrence Williams is there and holds his helmet, knowing he had a good shot to hold on to it. 4th down.
Pretty good coverage this time by Nolan Carroll, but there is no doubt when they're going down the field, they don't care who it is that's on that side. That's the one that they want. Pretty good opportunity there for Terrence Williams, unable to make that play.
So now Chris Jones bunting toward Darren Sproles, and he makes the fair catch at the 20-yard line. 13-18 remaining in the first half. 7-0 Dallas. DeMarco Murray, new team, new system, a lot of everything is new. Runs from the shotgun, as you can see, not that many in his 4 years with the Cowboys. Romo handed off from under center a lot. This year, 73 of his 88 carries coming into the game have come from the shotgun or the pistol. So he's taking it from a different angle. He's not complaining about it, but you begin to wonder, Chris, you can build up a bigger head of steam, no question about it, if you're taking the handoff from a quarterback under center.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have that big Dallas Cowboys offensive line either. I think he understood what his decision was about coming here. Didn't really like it. They've altered this offense so that he can get behind more double team blocks, and it's helped.
Well, he says take that for a 9-yard gain out of the shotgun. Kyle Wilbur makes the tackle, 2nd and 1.
Yeah, that's what this has become a little bit more of, trying to get this offensive line moving forward. The one thing they found out is that DeMarco Murray is not an outside the tackle runner, really. He's a guy that wants to put his foot in the ground and get downhill. And at least so far tonight, he's had a couple of them.
Well, now he's going to swing to the outside, pick up the first, and he took that handoff from Bradford under center. It's a money deal. There was no question about it. Dallas wanted to keep him, made him a pretty good offer. They also had to sign Des Bryant. It's a salary cap situation. He said it was a very tough decision. He kept going back and forth, and finally opted for the payday. As you look at the Jones family.
He also said sometimes in life you have to be a little greedy for yourself. It was a big difference in the money, and the Eagles were a winning franchise and made a family decision.
From the 32, checking it down, and it's Murray making the catch on the outside. Wilbur forces him out. Boy, he was being recruited almost daily by Tony Romo and Jason Witten, the key guys at Dallas. But at the end of the day, it was Murray on to brotherly love.
You know, and he was the leading rusher in the National Football League. He didn't want to go.
2nd and 2, and this time it is a first down as Murray gets taken down by the safety J.J. Wilcox. So a healthy dose here. Chip Kelly calling in the plays. First down.
But instead of so much of the read option stuff where the quarterback has that option to keep the ball, that has been a very small part of this offense. This has been the big part.
Well, so 4 runs and a pass reception. It's been all Murray, and he takes it a yard shy of the 50.
Sort of these inside zones, they're going to do that, and then he just picks wherever he wants to go. The guys that run that well inside, as they set up those blocks, try and stretch them wide and then cut back into the hole. And that's what DeMarco Murray does very well.
And they get Matthews in the game, and Matthews will swing to the outside and pick up a first down, and a lot more forced out by Jones at the 30-yard line. So they go Murray, 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 and then Matthews for 21.
Well, and this change of pace, because you have somebody in Ryan Matthews that has the ability to turn that edge, and so all of a sudden that change of pace feels very different when Matthews comes in there.
And the former Charger that time to the 27-yard line.
But this is fantastic news for Sam Bradford. I mean, no matter what the play action is, every offense, and Chip Kelly's included, is a play action passing offense. You get the running game going, your passing game has chances.
2nd and 7. Bradford has time, finds the open man at the 18. That is Jordan Matthews, and that will move the sticks.
Well, and the other thing that it does, you just keep pounding him with the running game, and all of a sudden this defensive line and pass rush, Greg Hardy and company, they aren't nearly as fresh. They're not flying off the ball the way that they have been in some games.
High snap. Matthews will take it around the corner and backs his way to the 6-yard line. That's the 5th first down on this drive, which started at their own 20.
Old Green Bay Packers sweep here. We're going to bring them a couple of them out here around the edge. But exhaustion comes into play, and we've seen this with the Cowboys before. They lock defenders on the field, and now look what happens. The Cowboys are going to take a timeout probably just to make the substitution and get those tired defenders off the field.
Right, they are gassed.
They're staggering off the field right now.
There's a shot right there that tells you all you need to know about a racehorse offense.
That is Chip Kelly's offense. Everybody wants to think it's about the quarterback running the football, but he has changed it. It's different. Sam Bradford, coming off of 2 knee surgeries, is not going to be a runner. It's just not going to happen. So now they're running pounded inside, go outside. They've got some play action passes that if that end wants to crash, they can take advantage of it. Same concept, just doing it a little bit differently.
Yardage almost dead even. They need the timeout, get some fresh bodies in there. So 1st and goal. Randy Gregory will come in and take the spot of Greg Hardy, at least for a moment. Now Darren Sproles flanks wide left. Bradford with 5 wide here, swings it, and that's deflected and almost intercepted. Josh Huff volleyballed it into the air. Sean Lee just couldn't get there. 2nd down and goal.
We have seen so many easy drops by these Eagles receivers. It's almost hard to explain. 1 every 8 pass attempts, something like that. It's incredible.
4 a game. Here's Sproles, who slithers his way in for not a touchdown, but to the half-yard line. Sneaked his way through a hole.
Let's see exactly where he's down. That's pretty close.
Well, it's not a scoring play, so if Kelly wanted to look at it again, he'd have to challenge it. He doesn't. It's 3rd down and goal.
That might have been worth a look.
And Bradford will throw, and it is incomplete. It is busted up at the goal line. Byron Jones is there. 4th and goal.
I'll tell you what, this young man has just been something special. To play slot corner, He was a safety. He's been outside corner. He's the slot corner. Here he is. Watch him just jump that. That looked like it was going to be wide open to Jordan Matthews, and Jones just closed rapidly on that one. And now the decision has flipped.
Well, Dallas made a 4th down on their touchdown drive. Here's Murray in the game as the back. 4th and goal, and Murray will bull his way in there for a touchdown. So they almost score on the Sproles play, and then Murray's able to take it in.
Really nice job of scrambling here by the center, Jason Kelsey. I think that I couldn't tell who it was trying to get underneath him, and Kelsey basically just jumps on his back and rides him out of the play. Good job by DeMarco Murray to see that and jump back inside and power his way in. That was an impressive drive.
13 plays, 80 yards, 9 of them were runs. Just reviewing it as they always do in a scoring play. 6 minutes into the second quarter, we're an extra point away from it being tied, and now you've got going to the sideline for the Dallas Cowboys is Nick Hayden. Reason for the delay here. That's Deuce Staley, pretty good running back in his years. Chip Kelly said he sends the running backs in. Deuce is the guy, whether it's Murray or Matthews or Sproles, he makes the call.
And they really don't care who it is that's in there. I can't tell you how many different coaches I've talked to with the Eagles, and I say, oh, you know, who do you like? And, you know, I say, we don't care. We just are about getting it as fast as we can get it going, keeping fresh bodies in there, and defensive linemen a lot of times have trouble keeping up.
Caleb Sturgis. Cody Parkey got hurt earlier in the season, so they signed him. And the extra point to tie the game. With 9:01 remaining in opening half, but before we start the music and the commercial and all of that, we got a flag.
And if it were to be on Dallas, they could make that decision, right?
They could.
They could move it down to the 1.
They could.
But it doesn't look like it's going that way.
Teams have retreated to their benches. The jury is sequestered.
Judge Cato with the verdict.
After the try, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, Dallas number 76. The try counts. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
All right, so that's Greg Hardy with the foul. Game tied 7-7. So after the foul, kickoff from the 50, resulting in a touchback. And Mr. Castle and company will go to work from the 20-yard line. The foul was on Greg Hardy in on the special teams extra point. End of the play. 76 right there. Little shove down. Matt Tobin is the guy he took down. That is the third penalty against the Cowboys tonight. The Cowboys had 18 penalties in that win at Philadelphia. Somehow they withstood 18 penalties and won that game handily. Now on a roll, Lucky Whitehead makes the catch, and Whitehead brings the ball out to the 28-yard line. Had a real good preseason, did old Lucky, and made the team, and then has been running back kicks from time to time.
There's a guy who's having a really good regular season. Malcolm Jenkins, no question about it, one of the top safeties in all of football right now, and it's because of his versatility. We talked about Byron Jones a little bit. This guy plays all over the field. See him in man coverage on the tight end, on the slot, play back deep. good tackler. He has just found a perfect fit for him in Philadelphia.
2nd and 2, and McFadden will get tripped up. Very close to a first down. I think he appears to have it. He does. Thornton with the tackle, and Chip Kelly raving about these two guys.
Yeah, we talked about Jenkins, but Walter Thurman, how about the transition he's made? In Seattle and with the New York Giants, a cornerback. Chip Kelly knew him well at Oregon, knew the kind of guy that he was, and said he could be a safety. He's come over here and given them one of the most dynamic safety tandems in all of football. Both of those guys have corner ability, both drafted as corners, so they're not afraid to drop either one of them down to play man coverage. Gives them a lot of versatility for Billy Davis's defense.
Castle throws, and the first catch of the night made by Jason Witten, who is closing in on 1,000. Tremendous career, steady as a rock, as solid as they come. 13th year out of Tennessee. Only missed one game in his career with a broken jaw early on. Class personified. And one of those guys you just want to see in Canton someday.
Yeah, what Jason Garrett tell us, he said, yeah, I know all the stuff going on with Greg Hardy. He said, I just tell everybody, do whatever Jason Witten does. Just follow 82. Whatever he does on the field, off the field, do that and you'll be fine.
2nd and 3. And trying to work his way past the line of scrimmage is McFadden. Picks up about a yard, takes it to the 38-yard line. Upcoming 3rd down and a long 2.
Well, so much of this is sort of two-gap stuff, but occasionally Benny Logan will jump around the center here in the backfield. Good job by Murray or McFadden to jump around that. But then Jenkins right there to finish it off with a tackle. That Benny Logan is something inside. He and Cedric Thornton, the way they play the run. Fletcher Cox, one of the best defensive linemen in all of football. They are strong up front.
3rd down and 2. Little flip back to McFadden into Eagle territory to the 44-yard line. Maragos makes the tackle. So little razzle dazzle and a gain of 17.
One of the nice things about having Jason Witten out here is that he can get these edge blocks. Not easy to take someone as skilled as Malcolm Jenkins and stay on that block. Good play call there that time by Scott Linehan. There he is, Mr. All Everything. We know that he's been around here the longest. He has made so many clutch plays. 2 touchdowns on opening night against the Giants, none since. I think it's going to break his heart when Tony Romo comes back.
In a fortnight. Castle throwing and incomplete. Des Bryant was there. Nolan Carroll leaping. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Every single time that they have had man coverage on the outside with Nolan Carroll covering, they have thrown it deep that way. Here we go, right down the chute here. It's one of those, I don't think Des ever really saw that ball. You want to throw that thing up there for Des Bryant. I know he's got the bad foot, didn't look good jumping against Richard Sherman a week ago. But he is, you can tell he's starting to feel much better. Said he's about 90% now.
Caught 2 on that first drive. And McFadden, good tough running again. Boy, he's having a heck of a half. Finally tackled by Cox. McFadden's now carried the ball 15 times for 79 yards. That's good for 16 right there.
Watch this. These offensive line get a perfect seal on the outside. There is just nobody there. Nothing but the safety, Walter Thurman, to come up and make a play. And I think it's one of the problems that Philadelphia may have. Yeah, they have those corner type guys playing safety, but when you play against a team like Carolina, which they did, and the Dallas Cowboys, and these downhill runs, it is tough for those guys to come up and make all the tackles.
Blitz coming through, and Castle almost gets knocked down, instead stays alive, and then throws a touchdown pass to Terrence Williams with a flag in the end zone.
No question. Terrence Williams pushed off on that one, no question.
That was Jordan Hicks on the blitz, gets to Castle, but then you're going to get a push off here, and the Cowboys have already started to retreat.
Pass interference offense, number 83. 10-yard penalty for the previous spot. 2 first down.
Here's the interference. Watch at the very end of it. Push right in the back. And may not have been a bad pass interference. I'm not so sure that Byron Maxwell wasn't going to pick that one off. Jordan Hicks coming right through the middle, went right around Darren McFadden. Some play by Matt Castle to get that done. The crowd didn't like the call, but it was obvious.
They didn't like the call. They didn't like the fact that Hicks blitzed and almost got to Castle, because it was Hicks who was able to get to Tony Romo, and that led to the busted collarbone in week 2.
Social media has not been kind over that either.
Anti-social media. Here is Cole Beasley with a flag down, and Beasley stumbles to the 34-yard line.
Illegal shift offense. There were 2 men moving, never got set. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So make it 1st and 25.
Once somebody goes in motion, a second guy can't move or reset. You can do that, but everybody has to be set, and then you go in motion again. Most teams have some kind of a freeze call or something like that. Whenever somebody sees 2 guys in motion, everybody stops, and then you pick the motion back up.
Well, the Cowboys had gotten to the 29. Now they're pushed back to the 44. Fake to Whitehead coming around. Castle's going to pack it in, and Matt Castle gets thrown back as he crosses the 35-yard line. Gain of 11 yards. Kiko Alonso, who's been hurt and now is healthy again, former Buffalo Bill, played for Chip at Oregon, makes the stop.
Yeah, and you don't think of Matt Castle as being a runner, but in 60 fewer games than Tony Romo, he has 360 more rushing yards and 17 more rushing first downs. He showed his ability to run a week ago, and here he comes right back. That was a big play to get him back in field goal range.
2nd down and 14. And Castle fires to the outside, and Williams looks around, thought he was held. No flag. Nolan Carroll with the coverage. 3rd down, 14. Scott Linehan, one time a few years ago, the head coach of the St. Louis Rams. And Jason Garrett had done the play calling and then handed it off to Linehan last year.
And he knows what he's up against with now the 3rd quarterback in there. They're going to try and slow the game down. They don't want to try and get some kind of shootout with Philadelphia. Just let this game come to them. Let their running game and defense win the football game. Then when Tony Romo gets back, get back to the show.
3rd and 14. And it's stripped away, and then Castle's able to recover it. Brandon Graham comes in from the corner to strip it away and almost get the fumble recovery, and that's going to take him out of field goal range now.
Watch Brandon Graham here pull the jersey of Tyron Smith. He's going to get into him, get those hands inside, pull him right back towards him like that, and then go around to get the strip. That was big time. Just as Matt Castle was able to get him back in field goal range, Brandon Graham, who's having a big year, took him out.
So Chris Jones to punt with about 2.5 to go in the half. And a fair catch is called for and made at the 6-yard line by Sproles. 2:15 to the half and a 7-7 game in Arlington. And what, for my money, is the best stadium ever built. DeMarco Murray stopped at the line of scrimmage. Do you think of a better one?
No, I cannot. And we've seen all the Olympics, and there still isn't one better.
Nope. Not in Sochi, anyway.
Not all the Olympics.
2-minute warning. 7-7 on Sunday Night Football. And an odd-looking play right there with a handoff and a backhanded to Murray. Picks up about 7.
And by going out of bounds, it makes this play really interesting because the Cowboys were a little bit stuck We've talked about it before, but that is not the way that play was supposed to work.
No, it was a 2nd and 11, so it's now 3rd down and 3 from the 13-yard line. And Bradford hangs in the pocket and has the first down, and plenty more on a pass to the tight end Zach Ertz, tackled by Barry Church.
One of the things that the Cowboys are doing now, they've flipped Greg Hardy over to Dennis Kelly's side. Lane Johnson doing a terrific job, so they're going to take a shot at the other replacement, right tackle Dennis Kelly.
And Bradford to the outside. That's incomplete. Darren Sproles, the intended receiver. 2nd down and 10.
Pretty good job for this reshuffled offensive line up front. A week ago when Jason Peters got hurt, they flipped Matt Tobin out to the left side, and now they've got Dennis Kelly, who played guard a week ago, back playing right tackle, doing a good solid job there.
Sproles in the backfield. Give it to him. And Sproles out past the 35 to the 36. So many stellar years for Darren at San Diego and New Orleans. 11th year in the league.
I'll tell you, quietly, there'll be a few people inside that Eagles building that'll tell you they think he's the best back on this team.
3rd and 2. There he goes again. Up to the 40-yard line.
You know, he just adds so much to this offense.
Philadelphia takes a timeout, and Lane Johnson is shaken up. Well, good news for Philadelphia. Johnson got rolled up on. You saw him on the ground when we went to commercial. He got up, he trotted to the sideline. He was going to stay out for a play, but since they called a timeout, he doesn't have to stay out for a play. Here's what happened to him, but he will be back in the lineup, and because of the timeout, he does not have to miss anything.
As Greg Hardy was diving to make that tackle, he landed on the back of Lane Johnson's leg.
So the Eagles now, they have 2 timeouts left. We have 78 seconds to the half, and 1st down. And set up a screen, and this is Jordan Matthews, flagged down. He makes the tackle. He gets to the 50 pending the penalty.
Holding offense number 67. The 10-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. Repeat 1st down.
It's Kelly, right tackle. Dennis Kelly.
And now that's the read option pass. So Sam Bradford does not run the ball. So what they do is they get the offensive line. So they leave this guy unblocked and move out here and just throw it. So instead of doing that where Bradford would run, he just pulls it down and throws that little pass with the blockers in front.
1st and 16. And Sproles can't get out of the backfield. Clock keeps ticking down. It's 2nd down and 16. Under a minute now remaining in the half.
I'll tell you that David Irving keeps making plays inside. Who would have figured he would have had the kind of impact that he's had already here? Not very often you pick somebody up off the practice squad, I think it was,
of
the Kansas City Chiefs.
Sure was.
6'7" guy, big long arm guy against those short arm guards in there, and he's causing some problems.
Well, Philly letting the clock run all the way down here. 2nd and 16. To Sproles to the 40-yard line. So Chip Kelly looking to be quite content to go in at 7-7, and then he will not get the ball when we start the 2nd half. Dallas won the toss and deferred. Now it's 3rd and 10, and barring a defensive foul, might be the last play, but it's not. David Irving came in and makes it 3rd down. That's a little odd management here.
Nothing odd about David Irving, though. This guy's turned into a monster for these guys up front. They were talking about him, said, you know, they were surprised that they got him, so they got him. So they're thinking, okay, guy off the practice squad, whatever. We'll put him into practice and see what he does. tore it up the first week he got here. Yeah. So they had no plans of making him active whatsoever.
That's their second. It's a 30-second timeout.
Well, it's 4th down and 10, and they take a timeout. So will we. We're back. There was the punt that will end the first half, rolling dead at about the 10-yard line, and that will do it. Cowboys get the second half kickoff. Really kicks off, and the Dallas offense will take over after the touchback. So let's take a look at the buzz. Sam Bradford, 74 yards passing, so only about 4.5 yards per throw. Castle had that really good first drive. He had 70 passing yards, but only 23 since. Eagles offense at 7 rushing yards in the Week 2 game at Philadelphia tonight, 98 rushing yards. And Dez Bryant with 2 catches. McFadden, good first half, 15 carries for 79 yards. 7-7. McFadden starts in the backfield. Here we go in the third quarter. Castle, he'll keep it, and it'll go out of bounds, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Chip Kelly wanted his defense to stop the Cowboys' run. I asked him about Darren McFadden's 79 yards in the first half. He said, I don't care. The score is 7-7. This isn't fantasy football. As for Jason Garrett, he wants his offense to continue to run the football, but he does want to see more completions in the passing game, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So Jason Garrett, hard to believe, been here since the middle of the 2010 season. Got the job in mid-year after a disastrous night in Green Bay cost Wade Phillips his head coaching job. And Jason got a brand new 5-year contract earlier this year. And then this is Darren McFadden trying to get to the 30.
Dez Bryant early in this ball game took off with a couple of catches in that first drive. Catches a slant first against Carroll, and then took him the other way up the field. And you think, oh boy, here we go. Dez is going to have one of those breakout kind of nights. A little bit of help, but not much over the top. Still had opportunities. So we'll see if they're going to continue that plan. You just don't know, somebody coming back from an injury like Dez Bryant, how he's feeling. Is he getting sore? Exactly what's going on with him.
3rd down and inches. And McFadden may not have gotten those inches. That was Malcolm Jenkins, and a flag comes in at the end of the play. So the run was stopped short. Would be 4th and 1 without a foul, but let's see here with Ed Hockley telling us.
After the play was over, taunting by the defense, number 55. The 15-yard penalty results in a first down.
Brandon Graham. What did he do? Here it is.
Well, let's take a look here at the first. This play here, it's unbelievable for a safety. Malcolm Jenkins, I think that was his 9th tackle for loss. And then there's Graham right at the tail end doing a little yakking. And we're talking about your gifts.
Yep.
That hurts. You're off the field.
Christmas in November for the Cowboys. So they're at the 45-yard line.
3 tight ends in for the Cowboys now.
Right, and Bryant wide to the left. Nolan Carroll on him. Castle with that short drop. Hits Witten. Jason taken down after a short gain by Jordan Hicks, and they're working on Murray on the table. Stretching him out.
Well, one thing about Philadelphia Eagles, they are not short of running backs. But that would be a second. Ryan Matthews came in with that groin injury, so we'll see.
McFadden didn't fool anybody, and that's Brandon Graham at the point of attack. And that will make it, after a loss of a couple of yards, 3rd down and 7.
both these guys right here getting up the field. You've got Cedric Thornton, Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, three tremendous run players inside, and when they can get that penetration going up the field, especially against an offensive line as good as this one, you know what's happening. Chip Kelly was not afraid of the Cowboys running game. He said, we always play these guys tough with our defensive front three.
3rd and 8, blitz coming, and Castle gets enveloped and sacked at the 40-yard line. Michael Kendricks.
One of the things they wanted to do was take their shot at Lyle Collins right here. They want to try and send as many different looks at him as possible. They felt like maybe they could confuse him. He's a young player. Stepped up, did pretty well, though, with that one.
Chris Jones, this will be his 4th punt of the night. High, deep, angled kick, and Sproles will let it bounce, and it takes a great bounce for the Cowboys, spinning out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Early 3rd quarter, big game in the NFC East, knotted at 7.
This Eagles offense has had one very impressive drive, and how did they do it? Because they were impressive on first downs, averaged 6.7 yards on first downs during their 1 touchdown drive. On all 3 other drives, averaged 1 yard per carry. And once they get going, and once they can start converting multiple first downs, you get looks like that from Greg Hardy where you just get exhausted and you can't hold up.
They begin this drive from their own 5-yard line. A couple of minutes into the period, and it's a short game. Well, Chip Kelly talking to us last night. First, let's go to Michelle.
Well, Chip Kelly told me he liked the way his offense, that pace, wore down the Cowboys on their scoring drive, and said they've got to continue that style of play. Jason Garrett told me he thought his defense handled the pace well, with the exception of that scoring drive. And he said when the ball's ready, we got to be ready.
All right, Michelle, right now Jason Garrett looks on with some concern because the man on the field is the heart and soul of that defense, Sean Lee. So they work on him, and it's an injury timeout. Back after this. Sean Lee was down for about a minute, undergoing the concussion protocol right now. Anthony Hitchens takes his place. Lee sustained a concussion against New Orleans in week 4, but was cleared to play the following week. Now on 2nd and 7, Murray bangs his way out to the 19-yard line, and here's what happened to Sean Lee.
Well, coming over just after the hit, Rolando McClain's going to come in and try and clean it up. Instead hits Lee, who had the concussion earlier this year, and won't speculate as to what that is, but he's trying to talk his way back into the ball game now, and of course receiving a lot of attention on the sideline.
Bradford, good clean pocket, and then a perfect throw to Murray down the sideline. And so Hitchens is there, threw it over him and makes the tackle from behind. But a big gain right there, and a first down in Dallas territory, 43 yards to the Dallas 38.
Just a little pick play, and Hitchens, they went right after him. They went after him on the running play on the first one. Now the swing route down the sideline, taking advantage of Sean Lee being out of the game.
Bradford, be a short gain to the 26-yard line. Zach Ertz makes the tackle, and Greg Hardy spins back to tackle him.
It's the first time we've seen this all night. Lane Johnson kicked out to try and get Greg Hardy, and Bradford got that one off just in time.
Hardy coming in on Bradford, 2nd down and 7. And that won't go anywhere. Sproles, that's sniffed out by Byron Jones, read it perfectly and takes care of him right there, and they're still going over things with Sean Lee.
Well, I tell you, that Byron Jones has helped make up for the loss of Orlando Scandrick. Scandrick used to make those kinds of plays on those screens all the time, and Jones has got it figured out.
3rd down and 11. 4-man rush, good protection, and then another drop. But a flag. Miles Austin had it slip through his hands. Claiborne with the coverage.
I think they're going to call a hold.
Holding defense number 24. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, an automatic first down.
So turns what would have been a 4th down into a 1st.
Starts inside, trying to keep his eye on the quarterback, but then you see him wrap around that inside shoulder and it turns. Another drop pass by the Eagles, but they get away with this one.
It was a 3rd and 11, so now they're at the 34-yard line. On the edge of field goal range. 1st down. And that's caught on the run. Matthews and Wilcox will take him out of bounds at the 5-yard line. So after the penalty, they make it pay off. 1st down.
Good route here. One of these kind of routes down inside had me sold too. I thought Jordan Matthews was going across the field. That time got Byron Jones.
1st and goal. Matthews swinging to the outside to the end zone. Touchdown Eagles. And Hitchens gets hurt on the play. So the guy who comes in for Lee still on the sideline, he goes down. The Eagles have just gone 95 yards, 7 plays in 2:39 to take the lead.
Go unbalanced line, 3 offensive linemen over here, and watch Lane Johnson on the edge get just enough and sort of pull his man down towards him. That was Rolando McClain, and just simply nobody there after that. Boy, I tell you, there's nothing when it hits you at the same position. That's when you know you're going to have problems. Sean Lee, just so much the heart and soul of this defense. And the minute he went out of this thing, yeah, there's Hitchens. Just tried to jump over McClain and twisted that left leg. Well, you have to give credit where credit is due, though. Pat Shurmur, the offensive coordinator, the minute Sean Lee went to the sideline, attacked his position.
Worked on the open wound. Back to Arlington, where Hitchens was assisted to the sideline. And now we have the extra point attempt by Caleb Sturgis following the Matthews touchdown. And the Philadelphia Eagles with 14 unanswered points on top of the Cowboys by 7. On and off the year. And thinking about coming out was Lucky Whitehead, but takes a knee there to the 20-yard line. Jason Witten, 3rd-round pick in '03, played his college ball at Tennessee. He's only missed that 1 game back in his rookie year, broken jaw. 195 straight games, most by a tight end or wide receiver for one team. Won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Could win that almost any year with the work that he does, and special, just special on every level. Tony Romo is there. Can't wait to get back to work with his pal number 82. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have some work to do in a vital game for them, and the ball is loose and it's recovered by Dallas. It was stripped away by Brandon Graham, and then the Cowboys wind up controlling it as Zach Martin alertly falls on it at the 11-yard line.
Brandon Graham's doing a number with his hands, getting inside of Tyron Smith here and pulling him back down towards him. That is 2 sacks now that he's caused against arguably the best left tackle in football. Brandon Graham just having a monster game. Only had 2 sacks coming in here. It has had a sensational night tonight.
2nd and 18, apart from the personal foul. And that's caught on the outside, spinning around. Beasley picks up about 10 extra yards. Ran around Kendricks. Moves it out to the 25-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, it's one of the things that the Cowboys knew they had to try and do was reestablish some of these other receivers tonight. And they've done that with Cole Beasley. Of course, had the touchdown earlier in this game. It would be kind of nice to be able to reestablish Dez Bryant, but I haven't heard much from him lately.
No, not since that first drive when he had a 51-yard grab and a 6-yard reception. That's been it. Blanked since then. 3rd and 6. Blitz coming. Gets it away. Goes to Beasley again. Turns it upfield. Out of bounds at the 45-yard line. So Beasley back to back. Kendricks put the blitz on that time. That's a gain of 21.
Same basic route, and this is what he does best. Sort of goes in and then comes back out. Working against Malcolm Jenkins there. But this is what can really help a quarterback like Matt Castle. He doesn't know every little nuance of this offense. But when you get against a man coverage team like the Philadelphia Eagles and those big 3rd downs, look for that change of direction guy. Look for the guy the way that Tom Brady does. Elite quickness is as good as elite speed in this game.
McFadden. And he'll take it into Eagle territory. Gets to the 47-yard line. Gain of 7 yards for him. It'll be 2nd down and 3. McFadden now has 86 yards tonight on 19 carries.
McFadden back-to-back games with at least 20 rushes and trying to establish himself as that go-to guy. They think he can do it, you know, and a lot of times I thought in the game last week, the more you watch, the more comfortable he got on the field. He wasn't jumping around. He was getting downhill. He was lowering his shoulder. He was finishing runs, picking up a couple extra yards, and doing more of the same tonight.
2nd and 3. Castle good clean pocket that time, and then through the hands of Witten, but a flag is down. He was covered by Michael Kendricks. And going to be a hold.
Before the pass was thrown, holding defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
It's Kendricks.
Now this is the famous Y option play. He's going to come down inside, straight up the field. And the minute, wow, not a whole lot right there. I guess that little tug of the jersey ended up being enough. Good eyesight.
Or not. From the 42. McFadden, and he's going to get taken down in the backfield. That's Kendricks. So Kendricks gets the penalty that costs him a 1st down, and then he says, well, I'll atone for that with a little knockdown in the backfield, loss of 3.
Right here, just going to shoot through the gap here as Lyle Collins pulled out and around. Kendricks so fast and so athletic. Of course, his dancing background, right, Al? Here's a guy that school for performing arts and played soccer, and a lot of different skills.
2nd down 13 at the 45-yard line. Over the middle, Witten. And Witten gets taken down at the 36-yard line. So another key 3rd down coming up. Hicks makes the stop. Gain of 9. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Y option. You're just going to come down hard inside and then straighten up. And if the guy guarding you is inside of you, you break to the out. If he's outside of you, you break to the end. If it's zone coverage, you just simply turn around, and you can turn around either way. Some teams take it to the point where if there's nobody down the middle of the field, you can take off down the middle of the field. The choice is up to the receiver, and the quarterback has to know what that receiver is doing.
4.5 minutes left in the 3rd. He goes empty on 3rd and 4. And that's caught by Beasley to the 29-yard line. So Cole Beasley with 3 key grabs on this drive alone and 5 in the game.
Nothing fancy at all, but he's beating him with some of those in and out kind of routes. And now you just take it in. And for Malcolm Jenkins, he was probably waiting for him to come out. But I tell you, this is really helping Matt Castle. Just getting the ball out of his hands. It frustrates the pass rush. big third down conversions on this drive.
McFadden. Another good gain, still going. Backs his way for a pickup of 9.
I'll tell you, Doug Free did not play very well last week, but he is playing better here tonight. He and Zach Martin working that edge has provided some opportunities for Darren McFadden, who is finishing these runs. Gets his shoulder down, backs, pushes. That's something. That's really nice.
First time in McFadden's career, he's had 3 consecutive games of 20 or more carries. 21 tonight for 92 yards, 2nd and 1. Play clock at 2. McFadden on the other side. And that will move the sticks. It's a first down, spilled by Jenkins. McFadden over his last 3 games, go back to the Meadowlands where he had 152 yards. Then he had 20 carries against Seattle last week for 64. And tonight he's closing in on triple figures after 22 totes.
We haven't seen him catch the football as much as we saw a week ago, but he certainly has some of those skills, which lessens the burden without Lance Dunbar, who got injured. He was their receiving back.
Empty again. Castle flips it over the middle. Beasley, touchdown. "17 yards. So Castle and Beasley could not connect at all. No completions the last 2 weeks, and tonight he's been the main man. That's 6 for 72 yards and a touchdown here.
Well, he started going in and out, then he just went in, then he went in and out, and then back in again. Malcolm Jenkins has seen enough. That is called a quarterback friendly receiver right there. When you throw it 10 yards and you end up with 10 with touchdown passes. Look at Matt Castle. He is fired up. He said, yeah.
Extra point to tie the game. Beasley could star in the Julian Edelman movie, couldn't he?
Absolutely.
Same number, same kind of receiver. 14 all. Late third. 2:04 remaining in the third quarter. And the Eagles begin this drive at the 20. Back and forth we go in Arlington, Texas. All right, we get an injury update from Michelle in a second, but first, the pass is incomplete. Intended for Ertz, and here's Michelle.
Well, Sean Lee went back to the locker room for further evaluation for a concussion. He is questionable. As you mentioned, he had one week 4, so this would be his 2nd in 6 weeks. Anthony Hitchens went back shortly thereafter. X-rays on his left ankle. He too, Al, is questionable.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And that means Andrew Gatchkar, 5th-year guy, number 52, is the man who will have a lot of responsibility now. 2-yard gain here. And the roof is open. There's a little bit of drizzle right now. Well, I didn't expect any rain, but how about that? A little bit of moisture coming in, and there it is. Go figure.
Fans are dry. We're dry.
And the rules state, as we get a little jumping here from Hardy, once the roof is open, they can't close it.
Defense number 76. 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
So Hardy came across the line, turning a 3rd and 7 into a 3rd and 2.
It's so interesting watching this Eagles offense. They lead the NFL with 24 games with 400 or more yards, when Chip Kelly, since he's been here, only had 2 so far this year. So they are definitely still trying to feel their way with this offense. A little better performance here tonight. Got the running game going a bit.
3rd and 2 from the 28, and Bradford is going to get sacked. Sam Bradford back at the 20-yard line, setting up a 4th down. Lawrence is in there. Let's see who's going to get credit for the sack here.
They're going to end up with a little double team there on the inside. Byron Jones got some help, and I think Bradford just had to pull that ball down. And then it was a meeting at the quarterback led by Greg Hardy.
Yep, Hardy gets credit for the sack. Jones, each team has a Jones who punts. Whitehead at the 30, and lucky Whitehead hasn't been so lucky on his returns tonight. Taken down a yard behind. 20 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Dallas has the ball in a tie game. So in the waning seconds of the period, McFadden turns it into a little gain up to the 31-yard line, and that is going to take us into the fourth quarter in a very important game, in particular for the Dallas Cowboys trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. End of the third. We're tied at 14, and Sunday night football resumes after this. And back we come to AT&T Stadium. There's Tony Romo. He'll be ready to play in 2 weeks. His backup, still Brad Johnson, was 1-2. Kitten 4-5. Remember, Romo took over in the middle of the 06 season. Stephen McGee, their only drafted quarterback in the last decade and a half, won 1 game. Orton lost 1 game to Philadelphia at the end of the season, putting Philly in the playoffs. Whedon was 0-3 this year and 0-4 overall. And there's Castle, so you can see how valuable Tony is. Whedon is on the left and Castle on the right. Al Michaels, Chris Collins written the show before you. Sunday night football start the fourth quarter with a 2nd down and 7 for the Cowboys at their own 32-yard line.
Back to that 4-by-1 set.
And Castle's going to step up and not go very far as Connor Barwin makes the tackle. And it's going to set up a 3rd down and long.
Yeah, pressure up the middle, and they had that 4-by-1 set, so they absolutely could have tried to do something on the outside with Dez Bryant against Byron Maxwell, and give Maxwell credit. He had Dez completely blanketed going down the field, right down the right-hand side, and so there really was no choice. That was the option. You want to get your best receiver isolated on the single receiver side, but there was nothing there.
The score of that is a sack for Barwin. 3rd down and 8, low snap, and Castle has to float left, fire over the middle. Beasley, it's Beasley again. It's Beasley to the 40-yard line. What a night for Cole Beasley. That's 29 yards, that's 7 catches, and he's in triple digits, 101 yards.
It's just a great adjustment here. He sees his quarterback, Matt Castle, in trouble. He's going to slide right, so Beasley's going to slide right and then have to reach behind him and make a really tough catch here. Just well orchestrated. You don't anticipate that Matt Castle has had very many scramble opportunities with Cole Beasley. A little magic between those two tonight, though.
And Beasley of SMU here in Dallas. First 100-yard game of his 4-year career. And he'll pick up a few more there before he is forced out of bounds by Maxwell. And let's go to Michelle again.
Well, I'm sure Tony Romo is enjoying all of this as well. I talked to him before the game when he was actually throwing the football around on the field prior to the game. He said he's feeling pretty good and that clavicle is healing up as expected. He is determined to be back for that November 22nd game against Miami, Al.
Oh, no question, Michelle. We had a chance to talk to him the other day, and he said count on it. Jerry Jones is counting on it, so is Steven. 2nd down and 7 at the 36-yard line. Oh, picked off. That's Hicks. Jordan Hicks with the play of the night. To the outside he goes, and Jordan Hicks, who's done such a phenomenal job in his rookie season as the 3rd-round draft choice, puts Philadelphia out in front again.
They go with the empty set, flank out McFadden, and he's just going to roll out, and Hicks is going to hit it. There really was nothing there, but Jordan Hicks just anticipating what that was going to be and taking advantage, and what a phenomenal year he has had, and he is almost single-handedly hurt the Cowboys. Of course, we talked about knocked out Tony Romo, and now a pick 6 of Matt Castle.
And that's 20 takeaways for the Eagles this season in a little less than 8 games, and that's number 1 in the league. Extra point by Sturgis is good. So 12:47 left in regulation, and the Eagles have the lead again. (21-14), 12:47. Dallas will get the ball back after the Hicks return, and they'll return this one with Lucky Whitehead coming out of the end zone. And Whitehead with a good return. Lucky Whitehead into Eagle territory and spun down at the 23-yard line by E.J. Biggers. So Whitehead, who injudiciously ran a punt back from the 1, then had a 1-yard minus return, a kickoff return of 80 yards to put the Cowboys in business.
Really slick move here, right as he's going to get through the gap right here to escape that last tackler and then regain his speed that quickly. There's Klutz and Hannah right up front with the double team block, but that move right there by Lucky Whitehead, and that gives Matt Castle a little hope here after that pick 6.
And most of the crowd of 90,000 from the 24-yard line. McFadden takes it to the 22-yard line. So McFadden trying to get to 100 yards on the night, and that puts him right there with 24 carries.
Can't get over, though, the night that Jordan Hicks is having and the year he's having. Leading tackler on this football team. 3 fumble recoveries now, 2 interceptions, a pick 6, a sack that was the Tony Romo injury. He has just been phenomenal. Don't know where they would be this year without him, with all the injuries they've had at linebacker.
From the 21, 2nd down and 7. Play clock at 1. McFadden, can he get around the outside? Yeah, he does. Pushed Benny Logan away and takes the ball to the 17-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Cowboys.
Boy, Benny Logan jumped all the way around here, and he had a good running shot at McFadden. Just gave him a straight right that Muhammad Ali would be proud of. That was a shot. He was going to be tackled for about a 3 or 4 yard loss.
McFadden now for 103 yards, averaging a little more than 4 yards per carry.
I think we ought to be looking for Cole Beasley here.
There he is, stacked up on the left side. And Castle is able to escape. Has to come back this way. Flings one toward the end zone. It's a jump ball, and it's almost caught. It is caught. It looked like Bryant was there, and then it may have been tipped and caught. A jump ball, a Hail Mary type pass, and the extra point will tie the game. Let's make sure, number 1, it's a catch. There goes Bryant, and he's going to come down. He almost winds up in Whitehead's grasp. Who's got it at the end?
Wow. I mean,
that's
what a
crazy.
mess.
That is just crazy.
And he goes above the world to make a great catch. It was punched out late by Byron Maxwell, but knee was down. It's over.
Well, he gets an assist too from Whitehead because he put it on Whitehead's hip.
How about an assist from Matt Castle? It looks like Fran Tarkenton scrambling around. Russell Wilson on the back end. But watch how much higher Des Bryant goes to get that rebound and get his Cowboys back in the game.
Now Bailey to tie the game. This has turned into a wild one. Well, it's Philadelphia and Dallas, and they played a few through the years. Whitehead sets it up with the return. Then a miraculous catch by Bryant, and we're tied at 21. All right, the touchback here. Let's go back to the touchdown. It's even though Whitehead winds up with the ball on his body, it has all the elements of a catch. He has control, and he gets both feet down. Here it is.
We're going to see Dez working that back end line. Once again, a scramble drill that worked perfectly by Castle. But remember now, Dez Bryant coming off of foot surgery. Look at this mess. He plants his feet and just skies over the top of everybody on the back end. Watch how much higher he is than everybody. Everybody's running into each other, and somehow Dez plants that right foot in the ground and elevates. We have seen some plays tonight.
Wow. That's why they pay attention to the vertical jump at the combine.
Yep.
Inside handoff. And that's Matthews who had to reach for it, and he picks up 5 yards.
Now, really going to come down to now, can they get this run stop? They have Andrew Gatchgar, who is no snaps in the last 3 games playing linebacker. And he's playing that critical will linebacker position that Sean Lee plays, which is essentially the protected position in this defense. He's going to be the guy. They're going to have defensive linemen in front of him. It's up to him to run and make those plays.
On 2nd and 5, Matthews will try to get around the corner. And he does. He's able to fend off Morris Claiborne and go out of bounds at the 30. First down.
I'll tell you, the one thing that you notice about Ryan Matthews is that he tends to get the edge on occasion when DeMarco Murray does not. We have seen several times tonight that there's been a cornerback or a safety sitting outside on contain, and somehow we've seen Ryan Matthews get outside of that last contain.
And Matthews is averaging 6 yards a carry, which is about what he's averaging on the season. 9 carries for 54, and they dump it off to him, and then he drops it. That's just been a killer for Philadelphia all year. Drop after drop after drop.
Sam Bradford couldn't have babied this one any more than he did. He knew exactly what he had, and you could see him just take something off of it.
Again, update standings. Giants win today. Philly's either going to be 4-4 or 3-5, and Dallas is either going to be 3-5 or 2-6 as Matthews takes it again for a first down up to the 41-yard line, tackled by Wilcox.
This is that sort of same side run. So many times you expect that inside zone to end up bouncing out to the wide side opposite the back. But the Eagles have really gotten good at working that thing back up inside.
Play fake, and that pass is wrestled for and pulled in. It's caught at the 32. Zach Ertz, tremendous catch, great coverage, working the sideline.
I mean, you can't cover it any better than Jeff Heath just did, and he still squeezed it in there. A lot of people in Philadelphia would love to see Zach Ertz become a little bit of the security blanket for Sam Bradford, that he needs that same sort of Cole Beasley kind of player, Jason Witten player, and really hasn't found it yet.
And Bradford will fire, and that's caught inside the 20-yard line by Jordan Matthews. And Philly going racehorse right now. Dallas has had problems in the fourth quarter this year. They faded on defense. Really trying to exploit that right now.
Yeah, and look at them. You know, you put together 2 or 3 first downs, and they're exhausted out there.
Bradford, as he throws, he gets it off, and that's caught, and Sproles gets tackled, and that may have saved a touchdown. Jones is down. Byron Jones is on the turf, and that will compel an injury timeout with 8:13 left. Cowboys defense yards allowed to this point in the season. You can see how many they've allowed in the fourth quarter plus overtime. That overtime was a loss to New Orleans on an 80-yard pass. In terms of points allowed, pretty good in the third, and then in the fourth quarter they've given up 67, counting that overtime loss to New Orleans. Only team in the league without a fourth quarter sack. So that's been the bugaboo right now. Rod Marinelli on the right, the defensive coordinator, has watched his unit let Philadelphia get from its own 20 to the 11. It's second down. Jones shaken up on the play. Byron Jones, so he's out for at least a play. And then Murray goes to the outside, and he will be stopped at just about the line of scrimmage, setting up a very big third down. DeMarcus Lawrence is down, so they're minus the heart and soul in Lee. We see Jones coming back in after that one play, and we'll be back. Well, DeMarcus Lawrence went off. Coming in to spell him is Randy Gregory, and there's Jones, who was shaken up on the play before. He had to sit out for one play, so Byron is back in. There's Lawrence being looked at, and you have here a very big 3rd and 5. Murray in the backfield with Bradford. And Bradford hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. So the defense able to stiffen, limit them now to a field goal attempt. Pressure put on by David Irving that time, and this will be a field goal of about 32 yards.
Coming right off the edge over here. There he is again, David Irving, avoiding the block by the back. Just look how athletic for a guy his size. Coming around there and getting the pressure, forcing that release a little quicker.
Officially 31 to try to give him the lead again, and the kick is good by Caleb Sturgis. So that's going to make it 24-21. Jeff Lurie and his wife Tina enjoyed the bye week, as did all of the Eagles. Looking on, we saw them 2 weeks ago in Carolina. Chip Kelly, his hire, 3rd year, and he gave Chip pretty much the keys to the ranch in the offseason, on the field and off the field.
He bought a lot of cattle this offseason too.
Yes, he did.
Did some good old-fashioned horse swapping out there.
Yeah, horse trading. 7.5 to go. And this time Whitehead will take a knee. Now from the 20-yard line. Fired to the outside, Williams, and he gets taken down by Nolan Carroll after a gain of 8. 2nd and 2.
It's so interesting having a chance to have a conversation with Matt Castle. Of course, he goes in and he replaces Tom Brady when Tom Brady gets his knee hurt. And he was telling us when the trainer came up to him, he said he has an ACL. It's your season now. He said I could hear my heart beating in my ear at that point. You can imagine, goes out and completes a long one to Randy Moss and settles in, has a great season.
Yeah, took the reins, won 11 games that year, but because of the mathematics of the division that year in the tiebreakers, they didn't go to the playoffs. That was 08. 2nd and 2, and here goes McFadden around the outside. What a night for him. To the 40-yard line goes McFadden, who has now carried the ball a total of 26 times for 115 yards.
Well, this is exactly what McFadden can do. Here's Graham thinking he's in a great spot here, but it's just the speed of McFadden, which is exactly what they knew they had coming over here. What they didn't know they had was he going to be a tough guy? Was he going to be somebody that could handle 20-plus carries? He had historically had always suffered sort of those soft tissue issues, hamstrings and quads and all that stuff. So far for the Cowboys, though, getting it done.
Hendricks blitz, but they pick him up, and it's caught here by Des Bryant, and that'll be 16 yards from number 88 to the 44-yard line.
Well, there's just nobody more competitive than this guy, and anytime you end up with clutch situations, you want the ball in the hands of the guys that compete. And Des Bryant, he said, you know, I'm a nice guy off the field. I don't want to create any kind of image, but when we get on the field, it's on. And the Philadelphia Eagles, last time they played, did a few things he didn't like much, and it motivated him even to this day.
Here goes McFadden. Turns it up to the 41-yard line. Gain of a couple. 2nd and 8.
We're talking about Chip Kelly, but talking about Matt Castle. How many guys have ever had the career Matt Castle has had, where he actually threw more passes in his first preseason game with New England than what he did in his entire career at USC?
Yep.
It's incredible, isn't it?
They're under Pete Carroll. He just had the misfortune to wind up behind Carson Palmer and Matt Leinart, who each won a Heisman. 2nd and 8. Play clock at 2. Deep drop, flips it over the middle, and nobody home. Connor Barwin put the pressure on. 3rd down and 8.
That time they did confuse Lyle Collins a little bit. You heard Matt Castle say he's going to come down here, but watch what they're going to do with this big loop around. And Collins is going to get shuffled down inside, doing his job, but does not see that looper and forces Castle to get rid of it quickly.
Redundancy to say key or big 3rd and 8. They're all big now with 4.5 to go in a 3-point game. Castle fires. Witten makes the catch. Jason Witten to the 27-yard line. Good coverage, but he just snatched it away. Hicks was there. 1st down, Dallas.
The worst part is, as a defender, you know why option is coming. You know it's coming. You know that's exactly what he's going to do. But because of the way the play is designed, as a defender, you can't be right. As long as you have to take one side or the other, Jason Witten is going the other way. And I always thought Tony Gonzalez was the best hands catcher I ever saw, but Jason Witten pretty strong at the point of contact.
15 more catches and he'll hit 4 figures. It'll be 1,000 for him. He has 4 tonight. They're in field goal range right now. The ball is 27. Castle looking off, coming this way, a little too high for Witten that time. And Kendricks covering on that play, 2nd and 10.
Anytime you start getting to this point in the game, there are 2 guys that you're going to pay attention to. Des Bryant out there with a double team. And of course, Jason Witten inside. They continue to single him, and it looks like they're going to have single on Cole Beasley here as well. See if he goes back to that well.
Beasley in the slot to the right. He'll come this way. He hits Witten again, and Witten can't go any farther. Walter Thurmond will make the tackle. He stayed in bounds. The clock keeps rolling. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
Well, it's so nice to have guys that have been trained at the cornerback position that can come out of the safety position and cover anybody. I mean, they're not afraid of a back, they're not afraid of a tight end, and they're not afraid of a wide receiver. Gives Billy Davis a lot of versatility with what he can call on defense.
Clock rolling down to 3 minutes. The rookie Rod Smith in the backfield, and he splits out. So they go 5 wide on 3rd and 6. The pass is incomplete, and there is no flag. E.J. Biggers covered Cole Beasley. So 4th down. Bailey now comes in to attempt about a 41-yard field goal to tie the game.
Well, we've seen a lot of people take a shot tonight at Cole Beasley, but E.J. Biggers, who has a lot of experience playing that slot position, 109 snaps in there, 2nd most on this team, and that was huge.
41 yards. Chris Jones to hold it. And Bailey's kick is perfect. 2:53 down the stretch we go. Each team with 3 timeouts. You know, Chris, thinking about the schedules just ahead for these guys, it's interesting. They meet the Florida teams over the next 2 weeks. Tampa and Miami. The difference is Philly gets them both at home. Dallas gets them both on the road. Philly has a home heavy schedule, 5 of the next 7 at home, and Dallas is going to play a lot of road games down the stretch.
I don't think the Cowboys are afraid of anybody, though, if they get Tony Romo back. But that's what makes this game so important. They have to break this losing streak. They have to at least keep themselves in position to make a run with Romo. It's not going to be easy. You've got the road games. You have all that thing you have to overcome. But for the Cowboys, there is really this feeling inside that clubhouse. If they can just get Tony back with a shot, they're going to win it.
Well, in terms of the remaining schedules and the opponent's win percentage, the Giants would have the toughest. Then there's Dallas, Philly, and Washington, both there. The Cowboys will be finished with the Giants and Philadelphia after tonight. The 2 division games remaining will be against the Washington Redskins.
And of course, a sweep of the Eagles would be huge.
Yep. They would then own the tiebreakers in the division, having split with the Giants and having swept these guys. So we'll see. 24 all. And they'll take a touchback. So you've got no Sean Lee on the defense. You've got no Hitchens, who came in to replace him. There's Gachkar. Came over from the San Diego Chargers. DeMarcus Lawrence is out. He's still out. So a little patchwork on the other side. Bradford with Murray flanking him. Shoots it out to Murray. There's some room to roam there. Picks up about 8.
Looked a little like Shady McCoy running with the ball there. Had it in one hand and doing a little shaking and baking. And I'm going to guess Chip Kelly's thinking, let's put that thing away. We kind of have a season on the line right here.
2nd and 1. And Bradford throws, and that's caught on the run. And that's Jordan Matthews into Dallas territory and stumbling forward all the way inside the 40-yard line.
Just the old-fashioned pick play. They're going to have a big cross intersection in the middle, and Matthews comes out on the other side. Byron Jones just unable to get through the crowd. Here comes the pick inside. 2 guys coming from that direction, and actually Jones tripped over his own guy, Rolando McClain.
At the 37-yard line now. Gain of 34 on that play. And Murray's going to cut it back. And that's Jones is going to wrestle him down at the 32-yard line after a gain of about 6 yards.
Here's kind of that read option play one more time, where you can just tell that neither one of these guys, Sam Bradford or Marco Murray, are really comfortable with that exchange point. Do it, and it kind of, you know, there's just that hesitation. And for Murray, running horizontally is not really what he likes to do anyway.
Well, Philly likes to racehorse, but not here. They're going to start milking the clock in addition to driving down the field. 2 minutes left in a tie game.
Time to win the fight on Sunday night.
2nd down and 5 now. 2 minutes to go. Each team with its full complement of timeouts. Big stop there. 35-yard line. Gachkar comes in to knock him down at the 35. Timeout called here. Here's Michelle.
Well, Sean Lee is officially out with a concussion. He's been diagnosed, Al. So as I mentioned, that's the 2nd one in 6 weeks for Lee. Had one in week 4 at New Orleans, where he was taken out of the game. This time taken out of the game. Hasn't missed any additional games, but 2 in 6 weeks for Sean Lee, Al.
Yeah, you know, Michelle, it's a shame because, I mean, Lee, as great a player as he is, the problem's been to stay on the field. A lot of injuries in his career. Meanwhile, Dallas, they took a timeout, and I'm trying to figure out maybe, well, whatever it is, Jason pointing toward the clock. They take a timeout here. That stops the clock. Huge 3rd down and 8. Low snap. Bradford throws, and the pass is incomplete. So now you're going to have about a 53-yard field goal attempt. If you make it, all good for Philadelphia. If you don't make it, Dallas is going to get the ball near midfield.
And don't forget, this is a team that had their kicker, Cody Parkey, hurt on IR with a groin injury. Pick up Caleb Sturgis, who was cut by the Dolphins. His career-long 54, season-long 52.
7 of 15 career from 50+. This is 53 yards. And the kick by Sturgis is good. just inside the right upright. Huge.
That'll make you a few friends in Philadelphia. Clutch, because boy, would the Cowboys have had great position there. Had to do a little body English to get it in, but got it done.
So the Eagles are on top again. Dallas led 7-0. Philly went up 14-7. It was tied. Philly took the lead again. Dallas caught them. Back and forth they go, and where it stops nobody knows.
But still a ton of time now. We're talking about only needing a field goal and 2 timeouts, a minute 46. Time really shouldn't be an issue for the Cowboys on this drive.
You get both teams getting possession before it's
never know.
All said and done. Philly's got its 3 timeouts. If they run into a situation where they need to take them on defense.
Lucky Whitehead got him back in the game the last time, and I'm sure he's going to be anxious to get his hands on another one.
We figure a guy named Lucky would wear number 13, right? And Lucky, whose given name is Rodney, takes a knee in the end zone. Well, Matt Castle, 11 of them, 11 career game-winning drives, fourth quarter or OT. At the good years in Kansas City, wound up going to the Pro Bowl in 2010.
Now just keep in mind now that a little bit of a weapon for him is his ability to take off and run on occasion. And a lot of times that is not a bad drive starter when you're talking about facing teams when they start getting in this nickel and dime defense. E.J. Bigger's back out there one more time. And Cole Beasley.
Well, they go 3 by 1. You got Bryant at the bottom of the screen. And Castle will have it deflected and incomplete. So the drive starts there with a tip. Is it Logan? Fletcher Cox was the guy. Fletcher Cox, number 91, got a hand on it.
There's Fletcher Cox right there, and unable to get it over the top. You need something. You need to get that first, get the ball in somebody's hand, and just let them make a little catch and run. Get this thing started. Get the line of scrimmage. Get a little rhythm going.
2nd and 10. Bryant and McFadden both split left. Deep downfield, it's Witten. Oh, he almost held on, but he could not. Walter Thurman was there. So they go deep down the middle, and it's 3rd down and 10.
Well, that's the other part of this Y option. Watch him. He's going to make it look just like that Y option, but now take it up the field. But there you go. One of the safeties, Walter Thurman, who has played a lot of corner. Looks like got his hands on the ball and knocked it away from Jason Witten.
Just deflected it. But Jordan Hicks trailing on the play. Third and 10. Caught, but well short of the first down. That's McFadden. So now you got a 4th down. You got a 4th down and 5. And the Dallas Cowboys are going to use a timeout.
Well, once again, in all facets of the game, we have seen Jordan Hicks come up big tonight. The pick 6, probably the biggest of the evening, but here's a guy that basically this entire defense was sort of built around other linebackers. D'Amico Ryans being the leader, and then all of a sudden here's this rookie that has to come in and get it done. They had injuries to Alonzo, they had injuries to Michael Kendricks, so they turned to the kid, and the kid took over.
Kid was calling the defensive signals.
Yeah, he's been doing it last 3 years in college and walked right in the door and said no problem. Said not one day did he act like a rookie around us.
Pretty much comes down to this. With 1 timeout, 4th and 5. Can they convert? And they do to Williams, Terrence Williams. Up to the 35-yard line. Keeps them alive. Clock ticking down. They conserve that last timeout. Castle looking over, having trouble hearing what the play call is.
And now you get into the situation where the quarterback, not a lot of experience, can he function in this 2-minute?
Beasley gets taken down by the helmet at the 42-yard line. And you've got Jordan Hicks is down, so Hicks for Philadelphia is shaken up, and that's going to stop the clock. Crowd booing, but all that does is help Dallas.
That's their first.
Well, looked like he grabbed his shoulder and not the face mask. Boy, when you first looked at that, good job of officiating to not call that one.
Right. Hard one to call unless you have the exact right angle, and he does. So Hicks goes to the bench. Philadelphia, because of the time remaining, has to be charged with a timeout. So they would have 2. You've got 52 seconds. Bailey tying a shoe, hopeful of kicking a game-tying field goal. Actually, what he's hoping to do is kick an extra point.
You have a lot of defensive backs on the field. A run at this moment, not an outrageous call with just one linebacker in the game.
2nd down and 3. Castle fires, and that's incomplete, and Bryant will draw a flag. So that'll be a 1st down. That's Byron Maxwell. That only took 4 seconds off the clock, and they'll have the ball at midfield.
Pass interference defense, number 31. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
Take a look right up here. I think what they saw was that little grab of the jersey inside, and so often you can get away with that one, but caught him.
Ball at the 50. Deep drop and a left slide, and then down the field he goes, and the pass incomplete. Bryant had to dive for it, could not hang on. 42 seconds, 2nd down.
You're going to see that just at the last second, Dez gets a little tug there from Maxwell and just couldn't get re-accelerated. Had a chance, would have been in field goal range.
2nd and 10.
And you just wonder how tired Dez Bryant must be. Remember, he missed most of training camp. He had hamstring injuries, foot injuries, and now he's out here in the 4th quarter in a 2-minute.
For the Eagles, Hicks going to the locker room. Play clock at 2, and Castle fires, and that's caught, but going nowhere is Witten. He gets taken down by Malcolm Jenkins. Clock keeps running. You're down to 30 seconds. They got to get up there in a hurry. Save that last time out, and you got to convert here. 3rd down and 6, because you won't be able to spike it if it's caught inbounds and you don't get the 1st. And the pass is incomplete, but a flag comes in. Byron Maxwell that time on Bryant again. Maxwell saying it's offense, and Hockley will gather with his forces.
Well, Dez is just exhausted going down the field. He can barely run. And Maxwell and Bryant are just kind of going at it, slugging their way down the field.
Pass interference defense, number 31. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
And I think Maxwell's saying, I'm going for the ball. He just is right there. I have a right to go for the ball. Let's take a look.
You have a fascinating situation here. If they don't get another yard, you're looking at a 56-yard field goal. You have 1 timeout, you have to save it, and they're at the 38-yard line. So Castle needs 6, 7, 8 yards to make Bailey feel a little bit more comfortable. And then you got, now what do you got here?
You might.
It's going to cost them 5, the Cowboys.
Ball start offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Zach Martin.
1st down.
And no runoff because the clock was not running.
Right.
If the clock had been running, we would have been at 7 seconds at this point. But more importantly, you now have Dan Bailey, who was in field goal range. His career long was 56. Now they're outside of that range.
Right. It would be 61 yards if they don't get another yard. 19 seconds, one timeout, 1st and 15. Castle fires, caught. Now they're in field goal range. To the 30-yard line goes Bryant. 12 seconds, and Dallas will take its timeout.
Dallas. That's their 3rd and final timeout.
So now you have the ball on a 2nd down and let's say 2. You're looking at about a 49-yard field goal right now. Do you take one shot at the end zone is the question.
Really courageous night outside by Des Bryant. I'm sure he's absolutely exhausted. Let's take a look at the other side of this formation. Here's a tight end and here's a wide receiver, both on the line of scrimmage. I think that's an illegal formation.
Not called. Well, for the moment, the Cowboys, they either have to go to the end zone or they got to get out of bounds. You run the risk of completing it inbounds and trying to spike it. Maybe you could do it.
I think they're just going to try and run. What are they?
Too dicey. And the flag is thrown. What are you going to get here? Intended for Williams. You've got 2 flags down. You're down to 7 seconds. And you're to the point where you're going to have to send the field goal unit in.
Man.
Well, the pass was thrown, holding defense number 27. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That was a little more than holding. That was a solid tackle.
Oh yeah, I'll say. Yeah, that's a takedown. So you can't run another play. You can't take the chance. You have no timeouts. You got 7 seconds. So Bailey's going to come in right now. And this will be about a 43-yard field goal. And
15 for 15 on the year.
Yep. Call it 44. They'll spot it at the 34-yard line. Dan Bailey, one of the best ever in terms of percentage, to send us in all probability to overtime. And Dan Bailey is true. Wow. Just barely. A little carom shot. Kick save and a beauty. A mini doink. And through it goes.
Malcolm Jenkins was really close on that one, too. He jumped through that left side gap, and I thought he was going to get it.
Boy, that baby had a lot of hook on it. Sometimes you get a draw, and sometimes you get a hook. DeMarco Murray.
Saying, where was that when I was playing for the Cowboys? Yep. Heck of a job, though, by Matt Castle. Give him credit. Both these quarterbacks took them down the field when they had to, and you just can't emphasize enough what this game means to these two teams. You know, it's great doing undefeated teams like we did last week and all that, but for these teams, it's life and death time where they are in the standings.
Especially with the Cowboys, because if the Eagles with a loss would have the same record as the Cowboys. They've already beaten the Giants. They'd have 2 losses to Dallas. We're only halfway through the season. By the way, there's a little time left. 2 seconds left before we go to overtime. And the Eagles will have it at the 20-yard line. Probably see a kneel down, and then we'll go to a very important coin toss. Road team in this series has won the last 5 games and 9 of the last 11. Jerry Jones, who must have consumed more blood pressure medication in his 25 years as an owner than anybody. Jeffrey Lurie on the other side, and you're going to watch these teams go to a 5th quarter. So the coin toss coming again to refresh you with the overtime rules. Each team the opportunity to possess the ball unless the team that gets the kickoff scores a touchdown, where the defense gets a TD or safety. If the team that receives gets a field goal, the other team would get a possession. Each team 2 timeouts, no challenges, all replays from upstairs, and the game can end in a tie, unlike postseason.
You always want the ball, obviously, give you a chance to go right down the field and score a touchdown. But if you can make a defensive stand, you just wonder now about the Cowboys, as thin as they are, and some of the fourth quarter numbers that we saw. Now, how is that going to translate into the overtime period? Because fatigue does become a factor when you're playing against an offense like the Philadelphia Eagles as fast as they want to go.
Good evening, gentlemen. Now we will begin a 15-minute overtime period. Both teams will have an opportunity to possess the ball unless the first team with the ball scores a touchdown, in which case they win. Each team will have 2 timeouts. All replays will be initiated from the booth. Philadelphia, it's your choice. What's your call? Tails. Tails is the call. Tails is the call. It is tails. Philadelphia has won the toss. You wish to receive it. It's just that way. Fair enough. Philadelphia will receive at this end. Good luck, gentlemen.
Philly, Dallas. More drama. Overtime on Sunday Night Football next. Bring back the standings for you here. Giants win today at Tampa. Eagles and Cowboys will get this one determined in overtime. Skins lose at New England. They're 3-5. So Philadelphia gets the ball. If they get a touchdown, they win. They get a field goal or less, Dallas will have the ball and a chance to win the game. We start with a touchback, and here comes the Eagle offense to the 20. Sam Bradford playing in his 5th career overtime game. One of them wound up in a tie.
Bradford's been solid tonight. 20 of 31, 239 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns. And nobody really cares right now.
Eagles, good rushing game tonight, 138. Dallas as well, 134. 411 yards for Dallas and 369 for Philly. Here we go, overtime. And we start with a jump. Greg Hardy came across the line, but he was induced.
12-star offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty, his first down.
Lane Johnson.
Just a little flinch. So important. I can't. Playing in no huddle offenses, a first down, a second first down, and just see a difference in the level of energy on a defensive side. But that first down is so important.
1st and 15, and Bradford will throw, and that's Murray. And Murray's going to get a lot of that penalty yardage back. In fact, he's going to get almost all of it to the 29-yard line. Broke away from a Heath tackle. He gets 14 yards to make it 2nd down and 1.
And you could see the linebacker Gatchgar trying to get there in coverage, but kind of got lost in behind the tight end going up the field. Gave Murray all that room.
Murray's made 6 receptions tonight, and he carries the ball again here. So he has now carried the ball 16 times for 54 yards.
And there's 1 first down. Here comes back in the game David Irving, who's had a nice day.
Cowboys this year, very few takeaways, only 4 in half a season. 3 of them came against Philly on that one day in September. Bradford is chased out, and the pass is pulled in. Jordan Matthews right in front of his bench for a short gain.
A gain of 1.
Yep. 2nd and 9.
It's amazing, isn't it, though? Only 1 interception out of this secondary, that by J.J. Wilcox all year.
Not one interception by a cornerback. 2nd and 9. And you got a flag before the snap. Bradford just dumping it off because the play had been whistled dead.
Before the ball was snapped, ball start offense, number 81. 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Jordan Matthews.
He's on the slide.
Right. Still moving. At the snap, 2nd down and 14 now. So they have to withstand another penalty. And scooting and picking up the 1st down is Murray. So Murray now coming home and trying to haunt the Cowboys in his return. Gain of 20.
Nice job. He's going to set up that block to the outside of Dennis Kelly and then just shoot down inside it. And the more injuries that the Cowboys have, the fewer substitutions they can bring onto the field.
From the 48-yard line, the play fake, and then the dump, and that's Ertz making the catch, and he gets taken down by McLean immediately.
Rolando McClain, the guy the Cowboys are going to have come up big now with Sean Lee out. He really has not been close to what he was a season ago yet. A little better performance here tonight.
Rarely called his name tonight. Except on a couple of collisions with his teammates. 2nd down and 12 now from the 46. Coming around the side again. And then Murray into Dallas territory to the 46-yard line. 3rd and 3. Claiborne over on the sideline.
Marcus Lawrence here cannot get stuck inside. Nice job by Dennis Kelly continuing to work to get that edge, and DeMarco Murray unable to get to the outside early in the game is getting there now, and now the guy that has been getting there all night, Ryan Matthews, in the game.
Bradford fires, that's caught, but it's going to be short of the 1st down at the 43-yard line. So you got Brandon Carr making the tackle on Matthews.
Oh baby,
what a call for Chip Kelly here. 4th down and 1.
At the very least, you try and draw them off sides. The 5-yard penalty doesn't hurt you at all. But now you have a shotgun run. Are you willing to do that on 4th and 1?
Right, or give the ball back to Dallas near midfield. Matthews is the back. They're going to run it. They give it to Matthews, and he's going to get the 1st down to the 40. But the ball is then loose. The ball is loose. And unless it was whistled dead, the Cowboys think they have it. And then Hockley comes in to determine. What's he going to determine? Cowboys have it. And it's a turnover, so obviously it gets reviewed, and we'll see if the knee was down.
Recovered by Dallas.
Let's see if the elbow hits first. There's the knee down right there.
Yeah.
So that is going to be 1st down. Philadelphia, either way, knee and elbow is down.
So they rule it a fumble on the field. The Cowboy defense goes off the field.
We will review the ruling on the field that it was a fumble.
Right. But that defense is going to have to come back out the way we look at it, and there's very little doubt about it. Knee is down. He has possession. That's the end of the play.
Down.
That's where the play ends right there.
And the ball really is not moving at all until the elbow hits down, which would have been down as well.
And they had to get to the 42, and he gets to the 41-yard line, so he will have the 1st down. On a 4th down, the crowd.
The Eagles fans are cheering. You can tell.
Yeah, right.
You could tell that the scream was not a loud one, and it was because everybody wearing green was yelling and not blue.
And the Eagle offense already coming back on the field.
And actually, the fans in this stadium get a better view than Ed Hockley. They have a 60-yard screen to watch.
Yeah, if you sit halfway up or beyond, that's how you're watching the game here. You're on the field, you're going to get a neck sprain at the end of the game. Here comes Hockley to tell us that The Eagles will have a first down.
The runner's knee was down before the ball came loose. Therefore, it's Philadelphia's ball on the 41-yard line. That resulted in a first down.
Although it does give the Cowboys a bit of a breather there where they probably needed it most.
Absolutely. Got a couple of minutes to catch their breath, get the right personnel back on the field. Claiborne, who had to come out because he was gassed, is now back in at one corner. Get in overtime. If the Eagles get a touchdown, the game is over. Anything less, the Cowboys will get to possess the ball once, at least once. Matthews now in the game at the 41-yard line. And Bradford fires, and that's caught on the run. And inside the 10 into the end zone goes Matthews for a touchdown to win the game. 41 yards to Jordan Matthews. Hardy almost got to Bradford, but he's able to get it away. And the Philadelphia Eagles are exultant. So the Cowboys have now dropped 6 in a row, go on the road for 4 of the next 5. Philly goes to 4-4, and they get to play 5 of the next 7 in the friendly confines of the Link.
A lot of contact right here going on down the field. Jordan Matthews going to go there, and then Byron Jones, as he tries to recover, simply cannot keep his feet. And what a nice way to end this thing for Sam Bradford and Jordan Matthews. Both of them have had their issues. And for Jordan Matthews, good night tonight, and good night, Dallas.
Hardy almost gets to Bradford. Comes around the corner. Too late. And Sam Bradford, who's certainly taken his share of shots and grief this year, leaves the field a winner.